that Zork GX Lycanroc deck we have not seen. And Alex is playing Buzzwole Lycanroc that we've seen so much of so far.
Yeah, I mean, starting with the Regirock is pretty much the one thing you don't want in the active.
No.
We know that the deck does play a plethora of float stones, so we'll probably not have any trouble getting them out, but, you know, being able to get some good things down, the Remoraid, a nice little start there, but you probably really want to be trying to get a Buzzwole going.
Yeah, kind of a odd start here for Alex. He just has to use Tapu Lele, finds the Cynthia, and then plays the Cynthia. No Buzzwole, no energy yet, no elixirs, not even a Rockruff. He does have the Remoraid at least, but off of this Cynthia, he is definitely going to want to try to find a Buzzwole and get some energies in play as well.
Yeah, I always find it interesting what kind of, supporter people pick off the first turn Tapu Lele. We know a lot of these decks don't run the Bridget, they go for Brooklet Hill, so there must have been something in his hand that he found so vital he didn't just want to pick up a Professor Sycamore.
Right.
So Cynthia seems to have paid off. He's been able to find a Brooklet Hill, and while he's in there, just go and grab that nice little Buzzwole.
Yeah, he does get the Buzzwole, but unfortunately for Alex, I do not see an energy in his hand. So missing an attachment this turn, it looks like, unfortunately. Does have an Ultra Ball, can maybe go get a Rockruff with this. He'll have basically all his Pokemon in play he wants to have, but honestly maybe a few more that he wants to have. The Lele is definitely not ideal at this point. He knows what Riley is playing. Riley playing that Zoroark Lycanroc deck, so Dangerous Rogue is definitely going to be a factor for both of these players in this game.
Yeah, I mean, both of them are able to really be able to make those big plays, those turns where things turn around very quickly, and as you pointed out quite rightly, it does look like Alex is going to get to the end of this turn, no attachment, so looking for those plays turn 2, those big knuckle impacts, a little bit harder to do when you just miss your turn 1.
Yeah, no energy on turn 1 for this Buzzwole deck is really unfortunate. That's one of the things we've talked about all day is how important getting an energy every single turn is for this Buzzwole deck. Riley, of course, loving the fact that Alex put that Brooklet Hill in play. Just lets him get a Rockruff for free, and he has the natural Bridget. No need for Ultra Ball or Tapu Lele here.
It's really nice when you're able to pull that off.
Oh, so good.
Basically, it gives you a bench space back, because none of these decks, I don't think we've seen any decks so far really capitalize on using Tapu Lele as a regular attacker. So having that on there most of the time, you're just stuck with it, and you're just offering up a potential 2 prizes with a Guzma play. So that's nice that he's been able to pull that off, and he's going to be setting up a ton of Zoruas.
Yeah, it looks like he's actually also getting the Evolutions Mewtwo here. Wants to be able to respond if Alex is able to make a big Buzzwole GX. And even if Alex doesn't put 3 energies on that Buzzwole, just hitting for a decent chunk of damage with a 1 prize, 130 HP basic is pretty solid on that Mewtwo.
The one thing I like about it as well is it forces Alex, in this case, kind of into an interesting position to see how he deals with it. Does he waste a Bloodthirsty Eyes pulling it up just to get rid of it? Because there's better targets for that, more valuable 2 prize targets potentially. And with that in mind, you put all that effort in just to remove the Mewtwo as a threat later, and you only take 1 prize.
Looks like Alex plays a Professor Sycamore, discards 3 basic fighting energies, not attaching them, really wanting to get that strong energy here, maybe to pull off a Lycanroc, Bloodthirsty Eyes bringing up that Rockruff, but no, looks like he did not get there. Unfortunately, won't be able to knock out that Rockruff on Riley's side, has to attach a basic fighting.
Yeah, giving up all those energies to the discard is a big play for these decks. I like that both these players now have set up a tech. We do see the Watch and Learn Sudowoodo come down from Alex, so if he gets hit by something nasty in the late game, maybe able to just turn that right back around.
Absolutely, and we do see Super Rod coming in, so putting those 3 energies right back. A lot of these Buzzwole Lycanroc decks do not play Super Rod, but I remember Alex in his Charlotte list actually did play Super Rod, so it worked out well for him. In Charlotte, getting 2nd place, he's saying, you know what, it's worth playing once again, and pays off there, putting 3 basic energies back in, increasing odds of Max Elixir later on in the game.
Yeah, it was really nice that he was able to do that, and I think, knowing that he's got that card on the list does make that decision to Professor Sycamore so much easier for him. So 3 went in, and 3 have gone immediately back into the deck as well, so been pretty efficient turn from there.
Yep, he'll do a Jet Punch here, does 30 damage to a Bench Zorua, and 62 inactive, taking a prize. Riley's going to send up the Rockruff here. If he has a Lycanroc GX plus an energy, he will be able to get off the Dangerous Rogue GX for the knockout this turn. But if I was Riley and I went for the Dangerous Rogue GX, I would be terrified of Alex Sudowoodo on the bench.
You really don't want Sudowoodo to come back and get you as well. It's it's sat there. It doesn't have any energy on it now, which is sort of helpful. But we know that these decks with the max elixirs, we've not seen any played from Alex yet. They can really explode so quickly.
Absolutely, and this is putting Alex in a really tough spot. Riley's Parallel City. He's going to choose to discard the Lele. That's the easy choice. Looking like he has to discard that Regirock EX, something he likes to keep in play to be able to do 60 damage with a Jet Punch to these Rockruffs, but just valuing the Sudowoodo and valuing the Rockruff more at this point.
Yeah, the Octillery is essential as well.
Oh, yeah, absolutely, yeah.
If he's got it now, there's no more end. So probably the best choice there for Alex, but the Regirock numbers, something this deck does love to rely on. Really helps you pick up those basics, even though I think very quickly we're going to see Riley evolve and get those away from being easily picked off by a Jet Punch.
So here we just see a Tapu Lele going for a Professor Sycamore. Riley shuffling up here. And we'll see what that last card is in his hands, and then we'll probably see that Professor Sycamore come out. Looks like a Zoroark GX, first one coming into play for Riley. Gonna want to try to find more here. Let's see if he can get an Energy and a Lycanroc GX.
Oh, didn't look too good there. Don't see a Lycanroc. We do see him start to trade, though, and that's pretty much one way out. There's no Lycanroc in there for sure.
I actually don't think I see any energy in that hand. No Lycanroc either. It looks like an unplayable hand from the rest of this turn, honestly. I'm not sure if Riley's going to be able to do anything at this point. He may just have to end up passing here. He could go for a corner, I suppose, but the Buzzwole is going to probably want to attack anyway. Oh, double puzzle actually coming out.
So he pulled one of the puzzles off his trade, and then he's able to go for the second one. He is pretty desperate for that Lycanroc right now.
Yeah, so it looks like he's going to go ahead and try to Ultra Ball and find some more pieces here. Probably going to get a Zoroark GX and then try to trade and grab a couple more cards. Looks like that's going to be the choice.
Yeah, but he needs to keep that hand kind of moving. See, now he's got the extra trade. We do know that that's something he can play immediately. See if he can find the energy and the Lycanroc off that.
Yeah, it's a pretty specific two-card combo to need to pull off of the trade. But, I mean, I think, honestly, at this point, he would be satisfied with, like, a double colorless energy. Maybe, like, he could move the Rockruff and then attack with Tapu Lele or the Mewtwo even at this point. Looks like the trade is going to come out. What does he find? Still no energy.
Another Rockruff and a Cynthia, so not what he needs there. Looks like he's just going to declare the corner, I guess.
Yeah.
I don't think it's going to be such a big deal for this Buzzwole.
Of course, yeah. He had a Floatstone in his hand. I think he could have maybe retreated and left the other Rockruff active to protect the energy, but maybe that's not a Floatstone. Maybe I'm missing that. But on to Alex's turn. We'll see how he wants to maneuver here over on his turn.
Yeah, he is going to be able to Ultra Ball, discarding another Ultra Ball, and the hesitation there as we see the Buzzwole flashed. Oh, he does
Looks like he's going to get rid of it, yep. I like how he chose to play the International Promo Ultra Ball and then discard the Secret Rare Ultra Ball with the International Promo Ultra Ball, as opposed to playing the more expensive one.
I don't know if I can tolerate people just with the mixed arts.
Oh, you're not a fan of the mixed arts?
No, you've got to be consistent across the board. Apart from I know that players at the Latin America International Championships got their Promo Ultra Ball in Portuguese. So I don't think Ultra Bolo is...
Oh, nope. Cannot play that in Canada, unfortunately.
No, French you could get away with.
Yep, absolutely.
But maybe not the Portuguese version.
So it looks like Alex is debating using evolving a Lycanroc to use Bloodthirsty Eyes. Let's see what he wants to bring up. Looks like it is going to be that Zoroark GX. One of those numbers that is really great with Regirock is if Alex has a strong energy plus a Choice Band and Regirock, he can do 180 damage to knock out a Zoroark with 30 damage already on it. But since he's discarded his Regirock, that's not an option to him at this point.
Yeah, he does know the strong energy is probably going to be needed. But right now it looks like he's going to just start spreading more damage with the... with that consistent Jet Punch, make stuff nice and weak. And even if, Riley's still not able to kind of pick up the pace, find a Lycanroc GX in this next turn, then at least Alex has got something else available to him in the back. He's just able to then pick up those numbers a little later in the game. All those 30s really do add up.
Yeah, and while Alex won't be getting a knockout here with the Jet Punch, he is still going to be hitting for weakness and spreading a lot of damage here, setting up other Pokemon to be potentially knocked out in the coming turns. Looks like over in Riley's hand we see a Mew EX, and I think I saw a second Mewtwo Evolutions as well, maybe? Can't quite tell. No, maybe it's just a Mewtwo, the Mew EX, excuse me.
Shuffling it around so vigorously, he doesn't want anyone to see.
So lots of Buzzwole counters over on Riley's side. It looks like we will just see that Jet Punch come out. 120 damage to the active and 30 to the bench for one energy card.
That's absolutely insane. And you didn't have to bring it into the active or evolve it this turn to hit those numbers. Yep. Really nice. Be able to pick it off really easily later, particularly with something like another Jet Punch. Nearly any attack from a fighting type is going to get you there.
Yes, we see two trades come out on Riley's side. Actually, seeing one of his more interesting cards in the list, we see a counter energy hit discard. So that tells us that Riley is either playing the one of Pseudo Wudo. I've even seen some of these Zoroark Lycanroc lists playing one Pseudo Wudo and one Shaman from Shining Legends to deal with a big Lycanroc from an opposing the Buzzwole Lycanroc deck, but looks like that wasn't the option for him here, just discarding the counter energy and using Riotous Beating for 120 on the active.
Yep, looks like this Zoroark's in trouble this turn. It's another one of those turns where Alex is still able to keep moving forward, and as well, keep his bench set up really nicely. You know, his Jet Punches are going to start adding up, and he's going to be able to start picking up the prizes. Yes, it will turn on those counter energies, but if there's only one in the deck, Riley's just giving it up.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he does still have access to Puzzle of Time, but he's already used two, so it's not necessarily likely. And like I said, I'm not even sure that he plays the Shaman from Shining Legends, so it wouldn't even be a great response necessarily to the Lycanroc.
Yeah, usually when we see those kind of counter decks, they're a lot more focused on using counter Pokemon. So you've got things like the Shaman, the Sudowoodo. Basically, I believe Cobalion makes the cut in some people's lists.
In some of them, yeah. Yeah, usually there's like Zoroark counter-focused decks, but then sometimes you see people like Riley here fitting a thin counter line, playing just one counter Pokemon and one counter energy for very specific matchups, and I think that's what Riley's doing here. Looks like he's going to go ahead and Rescue Stretcher back a 2-1 Zoroark GX line, choosing to leave the Mew EX in the discard pile. Normally a very good Pokemon against Buzzwole GX, but with this Buzzwole already so heavily damaged, I think it won't be too hard for Riley to get this knockout here.
No, he'll be able to get it there. I mean, he's going back in with the Ultra Ball, desperate to set up another Zoroark a little later in the game. Does want to keep his trades online at nearly all costs.
And Riley is in a tough spot. He can do what he's doing here and Bloodthirsty Eyes bring up this Lycanroc GX. He'll be able to take the knockout here with the Dangerous Rogue GX. Since he found the Choice Band, he'll be able to do that, hitting 200 damage exactly. But all Alex needs to respond to that is one single fighting energy, strong or basic, and he'll be able to do the same thing, watch and learn with Sudowoodo to take the Dangerous Rogue knockout on Riley's side.
Yeah, that's really, really nice. He would be able to get that one. Very, very smart indeed to really swing the game nice and quickly around in his favor. There's the GX counter flipped, and Dangerous Rogue.
And we see it out of his prizes right there. Riley is indeed playing the Sudowoodo. And right away, Alex has it. He's got the strong energy. He has what he needs. Brooklet Hill's going to come out. Probably going to grab maybe a Rockruff, I could see. Yep, sure enough, that's what it's going to be. And we will most likely be seeing a Watch and Learn copying that Dangerous Rogue GX this turn.
Yeah, I mean, there's no reason not to be honest with you. He did make sure he powered it up the energy, brought up the Octillery just so he's got that Float Stone option. But you fire off a big attack like that, and guess what? You're going to get punished for it by a Watch and Learn Sudowoodo.
And this is really going to put Riley in a tough spot. He still has 4 prizes remaining, and Alex goes down to just one single prize card. Looks like Riley's going to send up the Mewtwo evolutions here.
I do love seeing a Sudowoodo in the active and then a player forced to flip over their GX counter.
Yes, yeah, not something you're used to seeing. A non-GX Pokemon using a GX attack. Definitely not the most normal thing, but here in this instance, works out for Alex very, very well.
Yeah, it gets him exactly where he needs to go with it. I mean, losing that Regirock, really, you thought his numbers were going to be suffering. He may fall behind a little bit. He's been able to keep up. This Mewtwo is now in the active. Sudowoodo pretty much done for at this current juncture. I don't think it's going to be able to capitalize too well. We do get the extra double puzzle from Riley. So he grabbed one earlier and put it back in, and now he's able to use it.
And this is going to be a very good turn from Riley Hulburt. I saw an N in his hand. He's going to be able to use that Bloodthirsty Eyes, bring up Alex's Buzzwole that is heavily damaged on the bench with a double colorless energy on his Mewtwo. He'll be able to get the knockout with Psychic and end Alex down to just one single card. Of course, Alex does have that Octillery in play, but you're still limiting your opponent's options, and Sudowoodo cannot effectively copy the Mewtwo to take that last prize.
No, not at all. I do like the Octillery, the way that Octillery has become so popular in decks, just to basically insurance against being caught by an N. So those late game plays, a lot of people just leave the Octillery on the bench, and then you see them draw off an extra 4 cards from the N to 1, and it's really not been that effective in N. So overall, Interesting to see how it pans out.
So we do see that Bloodthirsty Eyes come out. DCE to the active, Floatstone as well, and the N as well, putting Alex down to that one card, as we said. His only Pokemon with energy is that Sudowoodo, and Psychic at this point would only do 80 damage to the Mewtwo.
Yep, but I mean, you can see him just trying to get around it any which way. Losing the Buzzwole is actually pretty big here, I think, because those Zoroarks, probably what he wanted to try and target down, are going to be a little bit harder to be knocked out. Field Blower taken into play as well.
Field Blower gets rid of that Brooklet Hill, takes away one more option of a card that Alex can use next turn. Also gets rid of his Floatstone, so he cannot free retreat. He drew Remoraid as his one card, and looks like it is an Octillery. No, sorry, it was a Choice Band Abyssal Hand going to come out here. Looks like he got 2 Max Elixirs plus a Strong Energy. He has the Guzma. That is going to be enough. Psychic, even with no energy attached, the damage with the Choice Band plus the 2 Strong Energies will be enough to take the knockout there on that Zoroark GX and get Alex this game.
Yep, I mean, you showed the Psychic, able to capitalize off it, but hitting properly for weakness with the Sudowoodo there.
Absolutely.
Drawing the Guzma off that Abyssal Hand. Absolutely fantastic. There's the big Octillery to show off to us there. One of the interesting nuances of loading these cards in, but overall, Octillery basically won him the game there. Enter one, played everything down, drew all he needed, and problem solved.
We saw how useful that Octillery was, or how important it is to these decks. Earlier when we saw Ryan Sablehouse versus Zach Lesage, you know, Ryan was able to take out Zach's Octillery, and then Zach just had a terrible late game, and Ryan was able to capitalize. Now at this point, we see how useful it is for Alex, using it to get him 5 fresh cards after being in to just 1 card, and gets him the cards he needs to win the game by Guzmaing the Zoroark that was already damaged. And I believe also he had the 2 Strong Energies, right? So he could have even just Guzma'd the Rockruff on the bench to do 60 damage to take his last prize that way. So
yeah, it didn't really matter. As long as he drew the Guzma, he was in the money there.
Hey, if you can take the extra prize, though, with like on a Zoroark GX, you're basically taking 7 prizes. It's just kind of like, you know, a little extra. Why not, right?
Is that how you assert dominance in a tournament?
Yeah. You gotta make your opponent a little nervous for the next one, I think. So.
I don't think Riley's too bothered by nerves. I remember in Dallas, he just seemed so calm all the time when he was playing.
Absolutely.
That was a different region. I mean, it's expanded. And you see Alex's, one of his interesting techs, the Oricorio, I believe.
Yeah, this is something Alex made popular in this deck in Charlotte Regionals, getting second place once again. And it's a really good answer to these decks that play Mew EX, which we know Riley does play. Not usually the best starter, but it can come into play, and we'll have to see how how Alex uses it in this game.
Yeah, things you want to see in your start. In this deck, that's definitely one of them. Certainly the Oricorio. Yeah, it'd be great to take out a opposing Mew EX, but overall not so good. I have seen some interesting plays actually with the Supernatural Dance.
Absolutely, it can come into play. Pokemon just end up in the discard pile throughout the game, so Supernatural Dance can clean up some wins for you as well.
Yeah, I really enjoy seeing those big plays at the end of the tournament with just silliness from Supernatural Dance. Just all of a sudden you can just drop some damage counters down, pick up that basic they left behind, and problem solved.
Riley had a pretty solid turnover on his side. He had the Bridget from hand once again. Or sorry, no, he played Tapu Lele, found the Bridget, gets 3 Pokemon in play. Only thing that would have made it better would have been having an energy to attach to that Rockruff. But he does get over to Alex's side. We see the Brooklet Hill coming into play, getting a Buzzwole GX, playing a Max Elixir, and unfortunately does miss the energy.
Yeah, no energy again. Been a bit of a problem so far. The Guzma really not changing the Pokemon in the active, just making sure he gets his Buzzwole up there without having to pay to retreat. So an early Jet Punch there again, picking off one of these Zaruas.
Absolutely, taking those prizes where you can get them. We see 1 flip here on Timer Ball, 2 1 heads, 1 tails. Going to be able to search him out a evolution Pokemon. We'll probably see a Zoroark GX hit the field.
Absolutely had to be at that juncture. Really needs to start. If his hand's not so good, particularly after what we saw in turn 1 with no energy, trade to try and find one probably a little bit better for him.
Yeah, and he also just doesn't want to let Alex take that free prize with Jet Punch by getting that 30 bench damage knockout on Zorua over the course of 2 turns. So evolving the one with 30 damage, you might look at it at first glance and think, why wouldn't he evolve the one that has no damage on it? Well, it's that reason, right? He doesn't want to just let Alex take a free prize effectively. He wants to make sure he's getting the most use out of his Zoroarks and not letting his Zaruas go down that easily.
Yeah, it's really nice to be able to keep that around for another turn. Otherwise, yeah, you're going to take a big amount of damage on your active Zoroark, and then you're going to lose your Zorua on the bench and power up the Supernatural Dance from Oricorio.
Yeah, absolutely. More Pokemon hitting the discard pile. As we see the Lele hit the discard pile, Supernatural Dance could become a factor indeed. We see him Ultra Ball for a Zoroark GX Cynthia, as well as going to shuffle his hand into his deck, draw him 6 new cards. We also saw the Bricklet Hill got him that second Rockruff in play. So he's got, I would say just about everything he wants at this point. If he can find a Floatstone, a Mew EX, and a DCE off of these 10 cards he's going to see after the Cynthia plus trades, that would put Alex in a really tough spot.
Well, he's got a DCE. There's one piece of the puzzle right there.
Yeah.
Sycamore.
Looks like a trade come out number 1. There's the Floatstone. Now he just needs the Mew EX or an Ultra Ball would do it for him. It would allow him to get the knockout here on this Buzzwole GX using Mew EX's versatile ability to copyright his beating. There's an in, and unfortunately no Mew EX. He does have a Mewtwo in his hand, so he could attack with that, but no, just going to go ahead and attack with the Tapu Lele GX. And I like this play. 90 damage, not too shabby.
Yeah, I mean, from a Pokemon that's usually there to support, getting that damage down is very, very nice indeed. But how long can Riley leave that in the active, really?
Well, he knows it's safe this turn. He knows that Buzzwole cannot knock it out unless Riley, hit. In order to knock out this active Lele, Alex would have had to bench a Buzzwole, elixir to it 3 times, attach to the active, and retreat his active Buzzwole. And Alex is just not going to do that. He's not going to waste all those resources just to knock out this Tapu Lele, even if he drew that well to potentially do that. So this is a smart play from Riley, just, chipping away at this Buzzwole a little bit. And he has the option to attach a basic fighting next turn and actually pick up the knockout on the Buzzwole GX, or even play Professor Kukui. Yeah,
those would be really, really solid plays from him. Do you see Alex Ultra Balling here? Again, very liberal putting those fighting energies in there. Must be relying again on that Super Rod. That we've seen a couple times now, just get those back when the deck's a little thinner as well. So when you need to hit it, you can always hit it nice and early on.
Yep, gonna value getting down that Remoraid. He has the Octillery in his hand, so we can start seeing some Abyssal hand draws on the next turn. And looks like we're gonna just see a Jet Punch doing 60 damage to the active and going up to a total of 60 damage on the bench after the 30 that was on there previously. Yep. Trade number 1 coming out, is gonna draw 2 cards. And we'll see what Riley does on this turn.
Yeah, it's gonna be a tough one there. I think one of them could be helpful to him. There is the Ultra Ball in hand, so if he wants to make that big Mew play, he does need to find another DCE because he committed the other one to the Tapu Lele. But certainly something kind of on the table for him. Looks like we're gonna be mulling over the decision a little bit here.
Yeah, at this point, since there's already 90 damage on the Buzzwole GX, I don't think that Riley wants to go for the Mew play anymore. I think he would have done it if he could get a really big turn out of it.
Ooh.
And this Acerola play is very, very good for Riley as well.
Yeah, Acerola is very, very nice there. Gets the DC back in the hand. Choice Band going back down as well on the Mewtwo. So basically, just like switching the Pokemon, removing the damage there.
Yep, and this Mewtwo, even though there's just 1 energy on the Buzzwole GX, does enough damage to knock it out due to that Psychic weakness. So taking a knockout with a 1-prize Pokemon, and, Oricorio can't knock out Mewtwo like it can knock out Mew, so that is actually, that Mewtwo's probably safe this coming turn.
Yeah, you have to look at what Alex has got on the bench there. An Oricorio and a Rockruff, really not the big plays that you need, especially if you're about to commit your Remoraid into an Octillery. Does get to fill it up with Bricklet Hill, of course. No way that he's going to be leaving his bench looking so slim for too long. But now nothing is really that powered up. You can't power up both a Buzzwole and a Lycanroc at the same time.
Yeah, it's certainly something that's going to take the course of a few turns to pull off. He also needs to find a Floatstone on this active if he wants to move it this turn. Looks like he's debating putting a Strong and a Choice Band on that benched Buzzwole. Choice Band, it looks like it's going to at least go down. He may want to try to pull off a play where I've seen this from a lot of these top-tier players where they aren't afraid to Dangerous Rogue the Mewtwo because they know how much of a threat it is to deal with. It does feel bad sometimes to Dangerous Rogue just a 1-prize Pokemon, but no, looks like he's going to be able to get off the Guzma play, bringing up the Zoroark GX, and with that 60 damage on it, he will be able to Jet Punch for the KO here.
Yeah, but he's going to be bringing those prizes, keeping it really, really close in this game. He's just declaring where the extra's going, just starting up on another Zoroark.
Yeah, definitely. And this is something, Alex is going to go down to 3 prizes left. If he gets that Regirock in play, he can actually get another Jet Punch KO with a Guzma on to this Zoroark GX on the bench. Over on to Riley's turn. We'll see what he wants to do here. A lot of these... Oh, looks like the Mew EX is potentially going to come into play at this point. He does need one more Pokemon or a Choice Band in order to get the knockout. I think I do see the Choice Band in his hand at least. Lycanroc GX also a potential option for him.
Yep, he does have the counter energy in hand. It's going to start Ultra Balling, though. And to just make sure he keeps up.
Yeah, going to discard that counter energy. Unfortunately, he can't use it really effectively on anything in his deck besides Sudowoodo. Counter energy doesn't work with Pokemon EX or Pokemon GX. It would be great because then he could have just Dangerous Rogued this Buzzwole if he had access to using the counter energy. But even then, it wouldn't have been the knockout, only doing 150 with only 3 bench Pokemon.
Definitely not what he wanted to have there for the Mew. Definitely wants to be able to have a DCE, the classic.
Yeah.
Nothing too wild there. But he's going to have to go digging for it if that's what he wants. Picking up this Tapu Lele, maybe his way of indicating he's going to go for a little bit of a hunt in that deck.
Yeah, there it is right there, actually. The double colorless does come into play. Maybe he wants to go for like an N or something like that this turn. But I'm not quite sure what he is going to do. We'll have to see. And N is like not super effective against Alex right now. He does have that Octillery in play, and we saw how useful that was at the end of that first game.
I think for Alex, just needs to be careful. Make sure he's able to start picking up the damage on things that he needs. Looks like Riley's kind of rebuilding that bench slowly, picking up another Zorua. Doesn't really seem like he's going to have too much time to do that, though.
Yeah, he wants to be able to put them in place still, though, because he wants to have access to those trades. And, Alex has just done such a great job of taking out those Zoruas as they've hit the field that... this is going to be really valuable to him taking them out. As Zorua does hit the field here, we see the Mew EX come to the active. Versatile, copying Ridus beating. Riley goes down to just 2 prizes left. Alex has 3. We'll see where this turn is going to go for these players. Alex debating what he wants to do here. Looks like a Max Elixir coming out. Going to try to hit a basic energy on the Oricorio, but no, misses the Max Elixir. That is a big whiff from Alex Schemanske, unfortunately for him.
This is the Max Elixir on a pretty thin deck right now. Maybe if he'd have super rotted those energies back in, could have been a little bit different.
Yeah, and he did discard several energies, like you mentioned earlier on in the game, and we have not seen that super rod come into play yet. So it looks like Lycanroc GX might be a choice for him. He could maybe bring up the Zoroark GX and maybe go for a Dangerous Rogue. We'll have to see what he wants to do. We do see the Professor Sycamore in his hand. He'll have his pick of whatever he wants to knock out on Riley's bench. And, actually going to go for the Abyssal Hand first. Finds an Ultra Ball. Ooh, finds the Super Rod. There it is. Maybe a little too late, though, unfortunately.
Yeah, it would have been nice to play that before your Max Elixir, but doesn't always quite work out that way.
Yeah, he drew it off of the Abyssal Hand, so he didn't have the option to play it before the Elixir, unfortunately. I'm sure he would have loved to play it as well.
Oh, yeah.
But, he drew it a little too late, but he does still have Elixirs in the deck. He does have a Sycamore in his hand, so he does have a chance to still play some this turn. We see the bloodthirsty eyes on Lycanroc GX, bringing up a Zoroark GX, and a Professor Sycamore is going to draw a fresh hand of 7 cards for Alex Schemanske here. Finds another Max Elixir. 2, in fact, can start to power up another attacker. And we'll have to see what he wants to power up. He could Elixir to the Oricorio, as he did earlier on, and looks like that is what he's going to do. Gets that 1 energy attachment there. And I'm not sure how many Pokemon are actually in Riley's discard pile. There's a chance we could see a Supernatural Dance to take Alex's last prize on the next turn on one of these 60 HP Pokemon. Dangerous Rogue, though, will take the KO on Zoroark GX.
Yep. It's the way to go about it. He's got a nice full bench, so why not take the knockout here? I like that the Oricorio is powered up because you're basically forcing him to evolve both the Zorua and the Rockruff. We can kind of try and have a little count here. That we have seen at least 2 Zoroarks go in. They pulled 1 back, if you remember, with that Puzzle of Time.
We can maybe see right here. It looks like 2, 3. I couldn't quite see. I think there's at least 4, so if there's 2 more in there that I didn't quite see, Supernatural Dance would be able to pick up this KO. But Alex could also just potentially get a Guzma and a Choice Band, and Revelation Dance knock out that Mew EX on the bench for the last prize as well.
Going for those 7 prizes again.
Yes, there you go. Taking 14 prizes in a 2-game set as opposed to just the normal 12 you may need.
Yeah, well, that's showing off at that point. That really is. Alex really doesn't look too phased. I mean, he's got such a huge hand right now. His hand is just full of stuff, and he's not even the one with trade available to him.
And looks like Riley kind of figuring out what he wants to do. Gonna bring up the artillery here with the Bloodthirsty Eyes. Maybe could try to use Corner on his other Rockruff to try to buy a turn. I'm not sure that that's really going to work out for him, though, at this point. He only has 2 prizes left. What can he do to try to get there? We see an N come out. Going to put these players down to a lower hand size. Riley's only going to get 2, but he's also going to just put Alex at 1. And Riley, with no Zorks in play, is not going to have any more options as far as trading this turn.
Unless he pulls one. If he can pull one out, that'd be
absolutely
lovely. But even if he pulls Ultra Ball, it's actually not enough cards to be able to activate it. Doesn't look like he got it.
I think I saw a double colorless energy, maybe. Yeah, it looks like I did. Gonna attach it to the Lycanroc GX in the active, and looks like we're just gonna see a pass over to Alex's turn. Alex counting the number of Pokemon in play. 1, 2, 3. Bringing the 4th up to the front. 5. Ooh, just 5. 1 Pokemon short. He's not going to quite be able to get that Supernatural Dance KO, unfortunately. I'm sure Alex is really looking for it. Ooh, but he does find a strong energy. If he gets a Guzma here, he will be able to bring up that Mew EX and Claw Slash for the game. He does not find it. Sycamore here. Very close, but does not quite get the Guzma he needs to win the game this turn. Floatstone going to move the Oricorio to the active. Supernatural Dance, I believe 5 damage counters. No, it was 6.
Was enough.
It was 6. So he did have enough. So there it is. We see Supernatural Dance coming in, taking the KO for the win on Alex Schemanski's side. What a finish there to that 2-game set.
I felt kind of foolish at the beginning. I was like, I really hope he Supernatural Dances because I've hyped it up so much.
Yeah.
But to see him go for it, only 13 prizes, so not the potential 14.
Didn't get that 14 that we were talking about.
But overall, I mean, that was such a good play. You knew as soon as he was counting the Pokemon in the discard, that's what he was looking for.
Yeah, he was eyeing that up. Alex had that in mind from the beginning. Oricorio usually used in these decks to counter Mew EX, coming into play and taking that